establish a budget? This is a question that I hear from customers all the time. Hey, Kyle, we need to make all these hires within this time frame. What should our budget be? And actually, it's pretty simple. You need to really think about three things. How many hires do you need to make, and when do you need to make them? How many applications do you typically need to get a short list? A short list is a group of people who are qualified, who you want to present in front of a hiring manager or provide them an offer, basically to get you down to one single hire. How many applications does that take? And then what is the cost per application that's going to be required to get all those applications? So again, if you don't know your CPA, you can look in our benchmark report and we'll provide those CPAs by industry. But the maths are very, very simple, right? So the vast majority of customers that we work with, for each and every hire, they need between 10 and 20 applications. We typically recommend starting off with 15. That is the very tip of the bell curve when you look at how many applications most employers need to be able to make that, to build that short list and make that hire. And it's just kind of common sense, right? You know, when you look at those 15 applications, 5 of them are just going to be totally unqualified. That means that you're left with 10. Out of those 10, another 5 are probably not going to be the exact, you know, have the exact requirements that you have. So that gets you down to a short list of 5. You interview 3 of those folks, you provide offers to 2, and you get 1 person to accept. That's pretty typical, right? So you look at 10 to 15 applications equals 1 hire. In this example, we're saying it's 10. All right. So if you need 50 hires, you need 500 applications, right? 500 applications, multiply that by the cost per application that you're going to need to receive all of them, and that's your budget. And so these are just some examples for retail. These are the market rate cost per applications that we see for retail hires, for retail type jobs during these timeframes. And just like I said earlier, these costs fluctuate depending upon the time of the year, right? So in January through August, hiring has usually cooled by this point. So the cost per application is going to be a bit lower. It's going to be around $19. So in this example, we're going towards, you know, instead of 10 applies, we're saying, hey, let's be a little bit conservative. Let's say that we need 20 to be able to build that short list. All right, so if you need, I'm sorry, this is yes. So if you need all these different hires, right, and the cost per application is $19, then this should be your budget during this time frame. Now, if you are looking at making a big push, let's say that you're trying to go from 500 hires to 1,000 between September and December, right? This is the big seasonal push. The cost per apply is going to be a bit higher, right? Because there's more competition at this time frame. There's more employers who are looking to make these hires. Cost per application rates compete just like a market does, right? So what we see in our benchmark data is that the market rate for an apply during this period of time, on average, is about $26 to $27. So if the market rate is $26.60, you need 20 applies to make each and every hire. You need to make 1,000 hires. This is what your budget should be, right? So that's an example.